Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I am going to talk about focus group discussion, commonly known as FGD, which is an essential qualitative research tool, especially in fieldwork and commonly based and community-based studies. This video is a part of our Fieldwork for Research Methodology ECO 477 course, where we explore various data collection techniques. A focus group discussion is defined as a guided conversation between a small group of participants on a particular topic, which is facilitated by a trained moderator. Unlike one-to-one interviews, FGDs use group dynamics to generate rich, in-depth data. Participants respond not only to the questions, but also to each other's opinion, which often reveals deeper insights. Typically, an FGD involves 6 to 12 people and lasts between 1 to 2 hours. Objectives of the FGD. The main purpose of an FGD is to understand people's perceptions, experiences, as well as motivations in a collective setting. It is often used in social science, public health, education, and development research. For example, if we want to understand why students drop out of school in a rural area, an FGD with parents and teachers can reveal both practical and cultural reasons. It is also used to validate quantitative findings or explore issues not easily captured in surveys. So the question is, when we use FGD. FGDs are ideal in the exploratory phase of research when we need to gather broad perspective before designing surveys or interventions. They are also useful when we want to understand community norms, collective attitudes, or group decision-making process. However, they are not recommended for highly personal or sensitive topics like trauma or violence, where participants may not feel safe sharing in a group. How does the FGD group look like? So the composition of FGD can be described as an effective FGD depends heavily on who is in the group. Ideally, participants should share some common characteristics such as age, gender, occupation, or experience relevant to the topic. At the same time, it is important to ensure diversity of thought within that common frame. Also, we must be careful about power dynamics. For instance, mixing a teacher with students or an employer with workers may inhibit open discussion. Role of the moderator. The moderator is not just someone asking questions. They are the facilitator of a safe and balanced discussion. They must encourage all participants to speak, gently probe for more detail, and manage any tension or dominance by certain individuals. A good moderator is neutral, listens actively, and creates a friendly environment. They must also keep the discussion on topic and within time. How to design an FGD question. FGD question should be open-ended and clear. Start with general questions like what comes to your mind when you think about health services in your villages. Then move toward more focused ones. We should try to avoid leading or complex questions that could confuse participants. The order should move from general to specific, which allows participants to warm up before discussing deeper issues. And lastly, pre-testing our guide is also a very good idea. A comfortable and neutral setting is essential to conduct FGD. A school classroom, community hall, or even a summons courtyard can work. Chairs should be arranged in a circle or U-shape to promote visibility and equality. Before starting, introduce We need to introduce ourselves, explain the purpose, and seek verbal or written consent for recording. It is good to practice. It is a good practice to have a note taker who writes down both verbal and non-verbal communication. For example, hesitation or body language. Recording and note taking. Recording ensures that nothing is missed, but it's important to inform participants and respect their decisions if they refuse. Field notes, on the other hand, help us to capture the tone more than interactions that recordings might miss. For example, if someone rolls their eyes or nods silently, these are insights that can be valuable. Later, during transcription and analysis step, these nonverbal cues can help us to interpret meaning more accurately. Just like any other research method, FCGs must follow ethical principles. Participants should be fully informed about the topic, purpose, and use of data. Their privacy must be respected, and they must be allowed to withdraw at any point without penalty. Also, we must be sensitive to gender, culture, and religion, especially in rural areas where norms may differ. And lastly, building trust is also essential for open and honest dialogue. FCGs are mainly time efficient and allows us to gather multiple viewpoints at once. The interactive setting often brings out ideas that individuals might not express in isolation. They are also helpful in identifying group norms, myths, and shared beliefs that surveys cannot reveal. In development work, FCGs help policymakers understand the community's voice more directly and holistically. However, FCGs are not without challenges. That means FCGs has some limitations. One, loud participants can dominate, while shy members may remain silent. Groupthink, where people conform to the majority, can also limit the diversity of responses. Moreover, FCGs are not ideal for deeply personal or emotional issues. They require skilled moderation, and transcription or analysis takes time and also needs expertise. Once the discussion is over, recordings are transcribed or word for word. The researcher then identifies quotes, groups similar ideas into themes, and tries to interpret patterns. We often look for recurring phrases, conflicts in opinion, or insights tied to context. Comparing responses across multiple FCGs helps check consistency or highlight important differences. FCGs are used widely in public health, education, disaster response, marketing, and more. For example, NGOs use FCGs to access community needs before launching programs. In conclusion, FCGs offer a window into group perspectives. When conducted ethically and skillfully, they can generate valuable data that supports decision making and policy formulation. Thanks for listening.